That's really cool. Yeah. It just makes making music so fun. And welcome and thank you for tuning in to today's video. I'm going to be going through the MPC Studio II and showing you guys a little bit of its workflow. Be focusing more on the sampling section and how I'm able to sample. You do have to do a combination of clicking and hardware. This is a controller, but when it comes down to slicing my pads, it's all done within the hardware, which that was a big crucial thing for me. I didn't want to be slicing my samples using the clicker. I'm gonna put together a beat, nothing too major. I don't focus on the beat creation as much as I do want to focus on the sampling and chopping up samples part. I think 70% of the process of making music, you're gonna be able to do it in the hardware itself. I come from the MPC ONE. I don't know much on the software. I'm very lost in the software, but thankfully I can do a lot of these functions on the hardware. So the way I'm gonna start my track is I'm gonna load up a drum sample. I don't know if you guys can see these buttons right here, but this top button, this is your track selector. So if you click that, you got your audio tracks and then you got your MIDI tracks, and you can go to track 1, track 2, 3, 4, and so on, so on. So right now I'm on track 1. I'm gonna load up some drums, a program or drum samples. So in order for you to surf around and browse drum samples, you have your track selected, and then you're gonna go to browse. You click browse, and once you click browse, you're gonna see over here on your right-hand side, on your right-hand side, you got all your samples right here. You go ahead and start scrolling down. These are some samples. These samples actually come with the MPC Studio II, which they're actually really good. They give you a good starting point with some great sounds. I haven't tried these out myself, but I'm going to load up this program or this sample kit. And in order to load that up, as I'm looking through right here at my files, I can click this as a button. And when I click it, it's going to load that bank or that program up on track 1. Why? Because track 1 is where we were selected. So anything I browse through and I click it as a button is going to load it into the track that we have been selected. After I'm done loading that up, I go ahead and just hit the main button. The main button will just take me to the main session. And right here, as you guys can see, we already have our drum program in here. So what I'm going to do this beat. I'm going to get the tempo at about 85 or 87 beats per minute. In order to change my tempo, you guys see the tap tempo section right here. I just click and hold it for a few seconds, and then I can switch my tempo and it'll show it right there. I'm going to put it at 85 beats per minute. Let it go. Now we're at 85 beats per minute. Once we have that, I'm going to go ahead and record a simple 2-bar drum loop. So let's go ahead and do that. Cool, that sounds cool. I'm gonna put this ghost note right here, this kick. But this kick, I don't want to quantize that kick. I want to be off quantized. So as you guys can see, you got your TC on and off right here. Right now I recorded that quantized, but I'm gonna turn that off. Now we are no longer quantized. So let me just throw this ghost kick every now and then. Cool, that sounds okay. I noticed these two kicks right here, these last two kicks, they were not where I want them to be. This is where I have to start clicking, and this is actually really cool. These two kicks, I'm gonna select these two kicks as I did right there. And as long as I have TC turned off on my keyboard, I don't know if this comes out on the camera, but on my keyboard, I can use the left and right arrows, and it's gonna nudge those notes left. Not as much. It's not on grid. It's not going to snap. But if I turn on TC, it's going to snap them to the closest grid, which I do not want. I want to make sure I'm off quantized, so I could just nudge them over a few samples. Yeah, that's cool. All right. So obviously right there, that you do have to click to select these notes. Now I'm going to add in the hi-hats. Hi-hats, I'm going to be off quantize. That's cool right there. This kick that I added, I want to take that off. So I'm obviously going to use my mouse and select that kick and just hit delete. All right, so there you go. I have a simple 2-bar drum loop. I'm okay with that. Now let's get into the sampling section. So that was recorded in track 1. Now I'm going to go to track 2. So right here on where it says track select, I'm going to hover through. Now I'm on track 2. And on track 2, we do not have any samples. I don't have anything to sample. The cool part about the MPC Studio Mark II is that you have all these function keys. Now you have this mode key right here, if you guys can read that. If you hold down mode, and you'll see all these pads have a mode function that says right in the bottom, like if I hold down mode and hit sampler, I go into my sampler, I hit mode and hit pad 5. It says sample editor, the program editor, the pad mixer. So you got all these different modes right here you can jump into. Right now we want to sample. So we're on track 2. And on track 2, I'm going to hit mode sampler. Now I'm in my sampler. Once I'm right here, I can go ahead and start sampling. One thing that I wish we could do, and it's a bummer that we cannot do it within the hardware, I wish right here with, I'm on slice mode. I wish I can select either sample, slice, pad hold, or pad tap within the hardware, but you're actually going to have to click it. In this case, I'm going to use a slice mode. Let's go right here, jump over to YouTube. If you guys haven't seen my record collection on YouTube, make sure you guys check it out. I have a playlist. I'll leave that in the description of this video. There's so much music that I've collected, just collecting different records. So you guys can go ahead and surf through and see what inspires you. So make sure you guys check that out. Link is in the description. I'm going to use this track right here. It's a very simple song, and I'm going to slice that up. Once we have that, we're going to go ahead and hit play and start sampling. Damn. Sorry, I'm like getting all excited. All right, let's stop right there. Now I'm going to jump over to the software. I'm going to hit stop. And once I hit stop, let's name our sample. This is cool. We click through right here, and I'm going to name this loop. And I'm going to go straight to my editor. Once I hit edit, I'm right here on my sample editor. Now, being right here, you do have to click. Right now I'm in trim mode, but I want to go into chop mode. So I do have to select chop with my mouse. Once I select chop, everything else from here and on, I'm going to do it within the hardware. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I got these slices correct. I'm going to use these 4 keys right here. You got your sample start, you got your sample end, you got your zoom key, and then you got your shift key. These 1, 2, 3, 4, and your jog wheel. With these 4 quick keys, we're going to start slicing the sample using the hardware. So right now, you guys can see it's pretty zoomed out. So I'm going to hit the zoom key. I'm going to scroll in so I could get a little closer. And once I get into a good zoom position, I'm going to hit sample start. Once I'm engaged in sample start, anything I control with the jog wheel is going to start selecting the start of my selection. Now, as you guys can see, it's kind of snapping through different increments. In order to fine adjust your start point, you hold down shift and you scroll through, which this is really cool. Holding down shift and it's a fine selection. And as I'm doing that, I can be hitting my pad. I'm just going through and, I'm using the shift key to do fine selections, making sure I'm on the downbeat. Cool. And if you got to zoom out a little bit, or if you want to zoom in more, you hit the zoom key, you can get, crazy zoomed in and you can see what you're selecting. Again, if you want to go back to sample start, you can start making finer adjustments, hold down shift. It gets even finer with your, with your start selection. I'm going to zoom back out. Same thing with your sample end. If you hit sample end, now it's going to start, adjusting the end of that sample chop, which in this case, I'm going to adjust that Go back to sample start. Let's go to the next one. So there's some clicking right there. I will use the mouse right here to select, I believe it is 0 snap right here. 0 snap will make sure that your selection is snapped on a 0 line. So it's not going to be giving you any clicks or pops. So let's make sure we have that engaged. There you go. As you guys notice, I keep my thumb on shift. I just leave it on shift, pressing down shift, and I'm going through adjusting the start point of all these chops. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but once we are done with adjusting your start and end point, and after that, we want to create a program with these chops. Well, in order for us to create that program, we are going to have to use the mouse and come down here where it says new program. Select that and hit do it. Once you have that selected, we're going to go back to our main page to get out of the sample editor. Once we go to our main page, we're going to select track 2. Make sure we go to track, oh yeah, we are on track 2 already. And on track 2, we want to select that program with that loop we just created. So once you're on track 2, you go to where it says program select, engage that, and right here, you can check out all your programs. We're going to select loop because that's what we called it. And now we should have that loop program on track 2. All right, cool. So that's really cool. This is mainly on the hardware. The clicking around that I have to do is very minor, and that's what I enjoy the most. I want to be doing all the heavy lifting from the hardware. What I usually do when I sample and create my programs, the first thing I do is I go to my program editor and I shift down the pitch or the semitone of my sample. So let's go ahead and do that. In order for us to jump into the program editor, we're going to go to mode, hold down mode and go to program edit. And now we're on our program editor. And right here, this is actually really interesting. You guys can click, and I actually don't like doing this. I have to click the master semitone, and let's see. So I want to be able to do that from the hardware, which we can do that from the hardware. And a way we can do that is by using this Q-link or this slider, which this is actually a lot more fun versus clicking and trying to get this precise. And in order for us to engage this, we go to this touch strip button right here. And when we select that, we have different options. We got touch effects, notes, pitch bend, mod wheel, sustain, expression, Q-link. Now I'm gonna be on Q-link. Once I'm on Q-link, I go ahead and hold that down. And when I hold that down, it's going to tell me, all right, what Q-link do I want to engage? I want to engage this master semi-tuner, which this will be on Q-link. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 13. This is on Q-link 13, which is up here. Or you guys can just click them like that. You guys see how they're being engaged? I want to adjust the master semi-tune. Once we have that, we get out of it. And now, when we select these pads, we can use the slider to adjust the master semitone of that program. Now, once I'm okay with that, I'm going to go back to main, and I'm going to leave it at -2, and let's see the tempo of this because I'm sure the tempo changed. So let me tap the tempo. Actually, yeah, it's about 85. So I'm going to record that real quick, and let's do that. Yeah, that's cool right there. You know, I'm feeling that, and as you guys can see, most of it is being done through the hardware. All right, so right here I have another beat. I want to switch over to something else that I already have made. One last thing I'm going to touch up on is going to be this touch strip, which has been really cool. If I want to affect or put something on that touch script, I go back to, well, we are in main, and I'm going to go to track select. I want to affect, let's say, my samples. If I want to put like an effect on my sample, check out this new plugin that we have, which is the touch effects. There's some pretty cool effects that we can do. Like there's tape stop. If I hit play, we'll see how this sounds. That's really cool, but I'm obviously clicking around. How do we get that into this touch strip? In order for us to get that right there, we have this Q-Link mode right here section. And I'm gonna go to learn. And when I hit learn, I want to go into this touch effect, which is this right here. And I wanna click on touch enable. Once I have touch enable engaged, now that has picked it up, and now I can use this, as you guys can see. Oh, and one thing also to keep in mind, once you hit learn, click this little icon and just make sure it's set on momentarily. So we can go ahead and engage the tape stop. So it's enabled. I'm holding down the touch strip, and when I let it go, it goes back to its normal state. So I'm gonna demonstrate it, and let me hit play real quick. Yeah, so this is actually really cool. I love this feature. I'm using it a lot. There's so many different, effects that you guys have right here. You got your beat repeat. This beat repeat, let's see how this sounds. Oh, that's bad. That's really cool. You obviously can mess with these settings right here. Oh, that's bad. That's really cool. Yeah. It just makes making music so fun, and there's so many things that I'm coming up with now that I would have never came up with. I'm not going to extend this video anymore. I'm going to stop it right here. There's obviously so much more you can do. I'm just touching up on a few things that I've been really enjoying. I'm going to drop the video right here. I'm going to stop it. But guys, if you guys got any questions, let us know down in the comments for anything else that you're interested in checking out. I'm still learning this myself. I'm still learning the software, so I might be a little slow in the software while I'm clicking around. But as you guys can see, most of the heavy lifting, most of the important elements of making music is all made within the hardware. And that's what's important to me, and that's what makes it fun. Everything else, you do have to click around, but it's minor things. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this, and also subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed to it already. You guys have a blessed day. I'll catch y'all on our next video. Peace.